Welcome to another bloody review from the Bloody Asylum. Today, I'm going to be covering the movie Serial Mom from John Waterston, starring Kathleen Turner, Sam Waterston, Ricki Lake, and Matthew Lillard. This movie came out in 1994, and I was lucky enough to actually see it in the cinema. This was my first foray into John Waters movies. I had known about Hairspray beforehand, and I never actually saw it, and it being a musical, it didn't really interest me. Now, having said that, after Serial Mom came out, I pretty much went out and saw every single John Waters movie I could. Pink Flamingos is probably one of my all-time favorite John Waters movies. Just sick-o stuff. Serial Mom, although well removed from the earlier, more exploitive days of John Waters' cinema, still features every single one of his trademarks and a good portion of his entourage. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and watch this one, and after the movie is over, I'm going to give it a proper review. So, Serial Mom just wrapped up, and I had forgotten just how absolutely hilarious this movie actually was. Let's go ahead and do a brief plot synopsis here in case you don't know what the plot of Serial Mom is. Kathleen Turner plays Beverly Sutphin, Sam Waterston plays her husband Eugene Sutphin, Ricki Lake plays Misty Sutphin, and Matthew Lillard plays Chip Sutphin. And the movie basically follows the exploits of Beverly specifically as she goes after every person that she feels has either wronged her or wronged her family in some way or another. This all starts out with being relatively, not what I would call innocent. She's not killing anyone at first. The killing kind of starts not too far into the movie. But Beverly has general issues, I would say. It's never exactly explained just what kind of issues she has. There's probably all sorts of mental problems wrong with Beverly here. Through the course of the movie, Beverly does go after pretty much everyone that she feels has wronged her family or wronged her in some way or another. This starts actually with Dottie Hinkle, played by the alumni of John Waters, Mink Stoll. She goes after Dottie Hinkle because Dottie has stolen her parking space near the beginning of the movie. She doesn't kill Dottie. Dottie actually is a survivor in this movie, but Dottie is an unlikable character, so everything that happens to Dottie throughout the duration of the movie, you don't feel sorry for her. So next up on the kill list, we've got Chip's teacher, Mr. Stubbins. She goes after Mr. Stubbins because Mr. Stubbins kind of badmouths her son and then pretty much calls her a bad parent. So what does she do? She runs Mr. Stubbins over with her car. So next up, we have Carl Pageant. Carl was the boyfriend of Ricki Lake's character Misty in the movie, but Carl kind of dumps her and ends up going for, well, Tracy Lords. Well, this doesn't go over too well with Beverly because Beverly sees how distraught her daughter is over this and, well, decides to kill him with a poker. Next, we have the Sterners. The Sterners are the clients of Eugene. Eugene is a dentist, and they give him a hard time generally, and they're just really unlikable people. So she ends up brutally murdering both of them at their home. After that, we've got the lady that refuses to rewind videotapes. Chip Sutphin works at the local video store, and the lady keeps coming in who they've complained numerous times to her about not rewinding the videotapes. Well, she gives him a hard time about it, and that rubs Beverly the wrong way, so she goes and murders her as well. Then we have Scotty. Scotty is Chip's friend, but Scotty is kind of a loser and kind of a jerk, and there's been some building tension with Beverly and Scotty throughout the entire movie, so we'll just say that Scotty ends up getting killed because he doesn't wear a seatbelt. And then last, but certainly not least, we have juror number 8. Juror number 8 is played by Patricia Hearst, Patty Hearst, and she is killed because she's wearing white after Labor Day. So one of the reasons why I decided to cover this movie this month, because this could easily fall into a number of different categories. It could be a comedy, it could be a courtroom drama, it could be a mystery movie, it could be a slasher film, it could be a horror movie. It really kind of mixes numerous different elements together, and it does it in only the way that John Waters would be able to do it. The movie is just, it's scathing satire, and it's particularly satirizing the fact that in America and probably worldwide at this point, we've got people that generally praise serial killers. You got women that throw themselves on serial killers, such as, Ted Bundy. And this movie really goes for the throat and kind of try to satirize and poke fun at a lot of that. John Waters also pays tribute to quite a few filmmakers in this movie, whether they're exploitation filmmakers or they're horror filmmakers, such as William Castle, H.G. Lewis, Doris Wishman, Otto Preminger, and Tobe Hooper. He intersperses their footage from their more famous movies in with this one, as people are usually watching these movies on television. And it's clever the way that it's put in, and it also feels like a big tribute, particularly with films such as he mixes in Blood Feast, which is a personal favorite of mine. So it was nice seeing those little tributes in here. He's not really poking fun at those movies. It seems that they were added in there as a loving nod to those filmmakers. I want to talk about the performances in this movie also, because the performances are hands down perfect. Kathleen Turner in the role of Beverly Sutphin is one of the best roles I have ever seen her in. She is completely stark raving mad. And at the same time, you can't help but absolutely love her in this movie. There's moments where she just comes across as just such a sweet and loving mother, kind of like a 50s Mrs. Beaver Cleaver. And she then switches gears and becomes a serial killer. But then she switches back to being this sweet and loving woman who has all this charisma, and you just can't help but, kind of root her on. Sam Waterston as Eugene Sutphin he looks so confused and so baffled throughout the entirety of the movie. Waterston, I don't think, has ever done a movie quite like this, and there are times where his reactions to the scenarios and the situations that are happening are just priceless, and you can't help but burst out laughing, particularly in some of the courtroom sequences in the film's climax, as he looks genuinely surprised and shocked at what is happening in front of him. So in closing, Serial Mom is, in my opinion, it's classic John Waters. It has his trademark, it has his entourage in it, missing Divine, unfortunately, and Edith Massey. But it's very much a John Waters movie. It's satire. It's sometimes gory, sometimes ugly, but most of the time you're going to probably burst out laughing. And Kathleen Turner, once again, turns out one of her best performances. I can't stress it enough. This is her movie. She plays it so straight that you just can't help but get behind her role, her character. A fun movie all around, and I'd highly recommend it if you haven't seen this one. It's going to make you laugh. So again, thank you for joining me for this episode. This is a really fun movie. I can't stress it enough that it's worth seeing, worth picking up. Buy the Blu-ray, buy the DVD. If you like John Waters and you haven't seen this movie, then you owe it to yourself to see it. Even if you're not a John Waters fan, I'd highly recommend seeing this movie. I just don't see how one wouldn't absolutely love every element of this. If you're a slasher movie fan, a horror fan, a comedy fan, or you just love scathing satire, this movie is going to appease you on all those levels. Worth watching. Check it out. Thank you again.